Throughout this presentation, we have addressed some of the myths about records retention. We also presented practical tips and records management program tools for addressing each myth. These tips and tools sometimes overlap, so let's review the basic components of a successful records retention program. First, you need to clearly differentiate between official records and non-record material, preferably through a corporate policy or procedure. This ultimately limits the scope of official records retention schedules and expedites the disposal of extra copies, drafts, and other unnecessary material. Second, develop a functional records classification. By organizing records around business functions, activities, and transactions, you better support information retrieval at the corporate level and provide categories for applying retention rules. Next, identify those retention rules by researching the different statutes and regulations that apply to business functions, activities, and transactions. Your research should include direct record-keeping requirements and relevant legal limitation periods. As a complement to the legal research, you should also document operational needs for keeping recorded information and evidence. These needs might sometimes exceed basic legal requirements, but be careful not to set retention periods too long. That could lead to undue storage costs, litigation risks, and noncompliance with the privacy principle of limited retention. Once all of these legal and operational needs are documented and mapped to functional records categories, you have the basis for a records retention schedule. Establish the schedule as an official corporate policy by getting endorsement from senior management and such stakeholders as legal, tax, and audit. You should also consider developing a formal archival program. This can ensure preservation of organizational memory by selectively applying specialized controls to some records long after their scheduled retention periods have lapsed. Finally, make it happen. A well-researched and approved retention schedule is only useful if it is implemented. This means applying retention periods to all official records and performing secure, authorized disposal of records whose retention periods have lapsed, notwithstanding any legal holds or archival requirements. All this will take a certain amount of work, but it's definitely worth the effort. A well-developed and comprehensively implemented records retention program can bring any number of benefits to your organization, including direct compliance with statutes and regulations with specific minimum time periods for keeping certain records, protection of recorded evidence for litigation, audits, investigations, and other legal actions, better compliance with privacy laws, which mandate limited retention of personal information, documented evidence of due diligence for any records disposal activity. In a lawsuit or other sensitive legal situation, it's generally acceptable to show that records were destroyed in accordance with a retention schedule, as long as that schedule was developed in line with the principles discussed in this presentation. Reduction of storage and maintenance costs. The principle here is simple. If you don't need to keep it, then you shouldn't spend money keeping it. Finally, by getting rid of unnecessary records, the retention program helps you refocus attention and resources on those records which do add value to your organization's business. And that is really the ultimate goal of any effective records management program. This ends Part 4 of Records Retention in the Real World. We hope you found this discussion informative and helpful. Whether you're building a records retention program from the ground up or looking for opportunities to add value to an existing program, TAB can help. Visit our website at www.tab.com and look in the resources section to find our free white paper, Myth Busting, a Records Retention Action Plan. Thank you.